Alright, just a quick video about the debacle that's going on in Ferguson, Missouri. This is part of planetary influences that we've been under for a few years now. Uranus and Pluto squared. Anytime that these two planets get together or aspect each other, they simply can't play nice together. Because Pluto is about control, and Uranus is about freedom and rebellion. Pluto is in Capricorn right now, and Capricorn represents authority, government, the establishment. And Uranus is in Aries. Aries is always quick to act. It's very hot-headed. Likes to rush into things headlong, head first, because it's cardinal fire. It's not very good at finishing things, though, but it is quick to act, many times without thinking. And we see this all over the world for the last few years, especially, not just in Ferguson, but there's uprisings going on globally. We also have Saturn in the mix because Pluto is in Capricorn and the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. And Saturn is in Scorpio and the co-ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. And so they're in mutual reception. Now Saturn had been retrograde since March. And just as it went direct again, lo and behold, the Ferguson debacle breaks out. Saturn in Scorpio has not been very kind to government. You see all their secrets coming out, the wiretapping, the whole Edward Snowden fiasco. They were having issues with WikiLeaks, and all sorts of things blowing back into the face of the Obama administration. So Saturn is definitely a player involved in this. But the main influence is the Uranus-Pluto square. But the astrology of this isn't what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was how quickly things get diminished down to a polarity level, to a polarity-based opposition. These things usually do. And then you have to figure out which side you're on. Now it's the cops versus the protesters, or black versus white, or even logic versus emotions. There's a lot of emotions running high and heated in Ferguson, Missouri. And I have a vested interest in this. I'm originally from the next city over. And my girlfriend's parents still live right across the highway from where all this is going on. I myself am still in the St. Louis area, but I'm a little bit further out on the outskirts there. So I've certainly been following this story, and it really quickly diminished into a polarity-based opposition, almost from the get-go. And the media and those in the know have been playing it as such. You know, I often get asked, who are the people in the know? Well, I mean, look at whose very existence depends upon polarity. You got people like Al Sharpton jumping in there. And the KKK supposedly raising money for the hero cop. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he really wants and needs right now, is to be endorsed by the KKK. Like he's going to have a photo op with them, smiling and shaking their hand while receiving a check. That would be great for his image right now, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be great for anybody's image ever. You don't think that they don't know that? Do you think that the KKK doesn't know that their very presence will kick off an opposition polarity battle? Well, of course they do. They know that nobody wants them to be on their side. That's another way that polarity is played out. So when they say that they're for the cop, raising money for this cop, they're actually against that cop. They're not doing Darren Wilson any favors. Polarity is their bread and butter, you see. And it's very effective. It's very effective. You see other people across the country in other cities starting to rally, before the facts even completely come out. Because Uranus in Aries isn't really concerned about justice. Now, if Uranus was in Libra, then yes, it would probably be very concerned with justice. But Uranus in Aries just kind of wants to start shit. The key word being start, because it's cardinal fire, which is kind of what you see, because they're out there protesting and saying no justice, no peace. But I'm thinking no facts, no protest, because all the facts haven't come out yet. The investigations haven't been concluded yet. But Aries is quick to jump to conclusions and to take action. That's the nature of that sign. And not without good reason, because it's not that these things don't happen. There's been a lot of cases, and they've been on the rise, of police over-abusing their authority. Everything from the handicapped getting dumped out of their wheelchair to little old ladies getting tasered. And we hear these stories all the time, so it's very easy to jump to conclusions. But at the same token, you can't claim to be a victim while you're out victimizing others. You cannot demand respect by refusing to earn it by disrespecting others. It just doesn't work like that. So understand that there's no winners in this. If you pick a side, you lose. Both sides have done things that they should be ashamed of. And so the best option is to remain impartial until the investigations are completed, the toxicology report has come out, and the facts are presented, which is tough to do when you're under a strong emotional polarity opposition. People get carried away with their emotions. We all have done it at some point. Most of the criminal element that's been going around looting and rioting aren't even from Ferguson. They're from surrounding municipalities, and other cities have come in as well. I was watching a news interview with one of the protesters that was from Austin, Texas. And he's saying, I came up here to help, and yet he got tear gassed and arrested. I guess he wanted to help by being part of the problem. Because if you're going to Ferguson, Missouri right now, you're not helping. You're part of the problem. It's not that I'm against protest. You can protest in your own area, though, and many have done so. It's just the last thing that Ferguson, Missouri needs right now is more people coming in and causing and talking a bunch of shit. And firing up the emotions of everyone involved so that they do illogical, irrational, emotional things such as burn down their own neighborhood. These two planets, Uranus and Pluto, are very, very destructive, especially when aspecting each other. Even more so than Saturn. Only Mars is just as destructive as Uranus and Pluto. So that's my take on the whole Ferguson debacle. I just wanted to point out how things always tend to break down into these little polarity battles. You can learn a lot about polarity simply by watching and studying what's going on right now and how it's used to keep everyone polarized. They do it all the time. The media does this all the time. It's just that this is a prime example of how it's done. So, keep calm, keep safe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.